This BMW M135i was broken.
It had to be recovered from Birmingham and barely even made it onto the driveway.
But now, it's fixed.
And to get it here, I had to fix a boost leak coming from the charge pipe.
Job's a good one.
An oil leak coming from the rocker cover gasket, and to stop it misfiring, I needed to replace the Valvetronic, which was one of the most technical jobs I've ever done on a car.
And now I've got a fully working, reliable BMW M135i, but there's a few more jobs that need taken care of before I can swap it on. Now, I think we can all agree that this car is in some desperate need of some love. I've got to get the alloys refurbished because they have all been curved. I need to somehow get this headlight fixed, whether I order a lens or I just replace the entire headlight itself. But one thing that has been bugging me from the start of my ownership with this car is this. This is, of course, one of the kidney grills, and normally these little kind of coloured stripes just pop off and they're black underneath, but with this one, I don't know if they've been bought like this or if someone's painted them, but there is no way to remove them colours without removing the whole grille. So, I said I wasn't going to modify this car, but I have spent a little bit of extra money on it. What I have decided to order, which only cost me £12 from eBay, is just two completely standard kidney grills. So before we do anything, I'm going to quickly swap that horrible, nasty, cheap looking grill for this one, which is a little bit more OEM.
Firstly, I'm going to start by taking off this rubber weather seal. That will then give me access to the 6 T30 bolts underneath. These are holding the bumper to the slam panel. Now they're out, I'm hoping that I can just pull the top of the bumper forward away from the slam panel, giving me access to the plastic clips holding in the grille. Turns out I couldn't actually get access to the plastic clips at the bottom of the grille, so I decided just to snap it out of place because I'm not going to be reusing it.
And now it is as simple as pushing this one into position.
And now I've fitted the right hand side grille, it's made the left hand side look really dull, and I've noticed a few stone chips, so I think it only makes sense that while we're here I might as well replace that left hand side one as well. Now I can refit the 6 T30 bolts holding the bumper to the slam panel, and of course not forgetting that rubber weather seal.
And just like that, much better. In my personal opinion, they look way better than what was on it before. The car just looks a lot more stock, a lot more clean, and in all fairness, if I would have been interested in maybe swapping or buying this car, them grills would have definitely put me off. So I think that £12 was definitely well spent. Right, next job is these alloys. Now I try and do everything myself, but I am not an alloy refurbisher. So what we found out about these alloys is the previous owner's girlfriend used to drive this car a lot. Again, I'm not being sexist, it's what I've been told, but that is why they are so curved. Pretty much all of them are the same, so all four wheels are going to need a fresh refurb, and I think it just makes sense to put them back the original colour.
The Wheelman is your one-stop shop for all your wheel and tyre needs, but I'm here to get these horrible nasty curved wheels looking brand new again.
Sam, how are we, mate? Nice to see you again. What do you think?
I love it.
Do you like it?
Colour, yeah.
Do you reckon we go a little bit daring on the wheels, maybe black or silver? I'm leaning towards just putting them back grey because of the wing mirrors.
I agree, mate, yeah.
Go back to grey.
Your series for definitely always makes sense to keep them as
standard as possible.
Yeah, help you to trade it, won't it?
And of course, if you didn't already know, Sam has a YouTube channel for the Wheelman, which is actually going really well, isn't it?
Yeah, really well, mate, yeah.
Really well. So I will of course put all the links in the description for his YouTube channel, but for now I'll let you crack on, mate. I won't keep you too long, and we'll get the M135i wheels looking amazing again.
So they're going to get straight to work. The first step is to take the tyres off. Next, the wheels are going to get sanded down. All the curb rash and all the imperfections on the alloy are going to get sanded so they're almost hidden. Now they're going to go into the sandblaster to get them ready for the paint. And after they've been baked in the oven up to temperature, it's time to give them that primer and then give them that main coat. And once the wheels are done baking with the main colour, these of course are going to get a clear coat to give them that nice glossy finish. After that, it's time to get the tyres back on, balance them, and then get them back on the car.
Sam, once again, absolutely smashed it. They look way better. I've just said, I can't believe how much better they look just by being refurbed, even though they're in the same colour. I'm glad we went for grey.
Oh yeah.
Definitely glad we went for grey.
We noticed it's got other grey bits on the car, hasn't it, as well?
Well, I didn't notice that until you said it. There's actually the little kind of grille fins. They're in grey as well. So, yeah, I think we definitely made the right decision.
And for you guys that are in need of any wheel repairs or alloy refurbs and tyres, make sure you check out the Wheelman. I will leave their link in the description below. But for now, I'm going to get home because I've got a few more jobs to take care of on this car.
And now those are taken care of, I was going to start modifying this car, but it just doesn't make sense because we're going to be swapping it on. So I think it only makes sense that we try and unlock some hidden features, and how we're going to do that is by using Carly.
And if you haven't already heard of Carly, then you're going to definitely be surprised with how much this little device can actually do. And it really couldn't be any easier to use. All you've got to do is plug it into your OBD port.
And now that the Carly device is plugged in, it's as simple as downloading the Carly app on your mobile phone, loading it up and telling it that I am sat in a BMW M135i. So I'm going to turn the ignition on. Now all I've got to do is literally click connect. And just like that, it is connected to the car, and now we've got diagnostics, used car check, customization and other features. This little tiny Carly device actually offers manufacturer level diagnostics, so it's safe to say this is staying in my pocket. You can also do a used car check just by plugging this into the OBD port. I'm going to definitely be taking this with me when I'm doing these swaps, because I want to know if the cars have had a VIN change, if there's any mileage discrepancies or anything that I don't want to get involved with. But for now, what I want to do is click on customization, because I want to see what hidden features I can unlock with this BMW M135i.
So with this car, I don't want to do too much. I'll leave that to the next owner. But something that I definitely know anyone would want is the digital speedometer. So I'm going to turn that from off to on. I'm also going to turn the sport display from kilowatts to brake horsepower. I'm now going to let the car code that in, and now I can go into a different control module and turn off the auto stop start, something that I really hate.
And they are just some of the many features that you can unlock with your car using Carly. So if you want to grab one of them devices, save yourself a lot of time, hassle and money, then I'll leave the link in the description and pinned comment, and with the discount code on the screen, you can actually save money as well on the device itself. Thank me later, unlock hidden features, and make sure that you're not buying a lemon of a car. On to the next job. That now leaves me with one thing that is really letting this car down from the exterior, and that is of course this headlight. We got told that apparently a rock flicked up and actually smashed the entire headlight, and as we can see here, there is just a big gaping hole that is covered by tape in this headlight. So unfortunately it's going to need replacing. This is a complete BMW M135i headlight. Now, I could have just bought the lenses and swapped it over, but I think the job would end up getting a little bit messy. They can go wrong and they never seal like factory, so you end up with condensation in them, whereas this one is already, well, it's never been split. It is a pretty much perfect condition headlight, and luckily, thanks to one of you guys, I managed to pick this up for £130, which, if you know how much these are meant to be, that is very, very cheap. So next job is to get the bumper off, get that headlight out and replace it with this one, and hopefully it doesn't need coding. Let's give it a go.
So first I've got to remove that weather strip once again, which will give me access to them 6 T30 bolts. Once they're out the way, it's time to get on my back and undo all the 8mm bolts on the bottom of the car holding the bumper to the under tray. Now I can get to the wheel arch and start removing those. Now they're off, I'm going to bend this wheel arch as much as I can out the way to reveal the 2 bolts holding the wing to the bumper. Once they're out, this side is pretty much done. And I can do the exact same thing for the driver's side. Now I can pull the bumper off the car and unplug the pipes for the washer jets. There's one on the left and one on the right, and that should be the bumper free.
One bumper is off, and it's only at this point I've realised that most of the bolts, in fact I think all of the bolts to actually get this headlight out, apart from this little bracket here, are actually behind this wheel arch. So I'm going to need to jack the car up, take the wheel off, which will then give us access to, I think there's one bolt just there, there's one all the way under there, and the main plug for the actual light is also behind this arch liner. So wheel off, arch liner off, undo the bolts for the headlight, and then we should be able to take it off.
I guess this just goes to show how well these BMWs are thought out and how well they are built, which is why they drive so well. So I'm going to get this arch liner completely removed so it'll give me access to the bolts.
Okay, that has now gave me access to the main plug for the light and the T30 bolts actually holding it in place. There's a bracket on the top, there's one bolt here, one bolt a bit further down over here, but first things first, I'm going to take off the main plug and get that unplugged because, well, it needs to come out.
And with the headlight unplugged, it's time to get it off the car. There's 4 bolts holding this headlight in, one on the top, 2 on the bottom and 1 somewhere in the middle. These are held in with Loctite, so they're really tight, and getting it off, I did end up snapping one of the brackets on the back of the headlight, but luckily we have a new one so it doesn't matter too much. Just something to take note of if I ever do this job again. Now the 3 bolts in the arch liner are removed, I can move up to the top where the slam panel is and undo the 2 T30 bolts holding in this little bracket.
Ooh. Okay, this is of course the old headlight. This is of course the new headlight. Now, the new headlight, as you can see, doesn't have a few things that the old headlight has. So I think I've got to transfer a few things across. So starting with the 2, I don't actually know what these are, maybe cooler fans at the bottom. I've obviously got to transfer that one to that one, that one to that one, and then there is a module just here that you can actually see is bolted in place. This one is obviously missing. I'm assuming these are what make these compatible and able to swap out, so we don't get no fault codes on the dashboard. What else do we have here? I'm guessing, are we going to have to change the bulbs as well? No, that all looks
how it should be. So that part's all good. But then in here, on the old one, there is of course a Osram module here for the xenon lights. In this one, yeah, we don't have that, but we do have the plug. So I'm just going to go ahead and transfer everything from the old light to the new light and hope that this works. If it doesn't, I'm pretty screwed, really. So yeah, fingers crossed. I've just got to hope that I can transfer everything across to the new light without breaking it, and I'm not sure exactly what these parts are called, but I'm going to start with the two what I'd call cooling fans on the bottom. There's also a little module on the side that you can unplug and unscrew and then plug into the new light. There's the motherboard slash chip, and there's also the main xenon bulb that's inside the main headlight. Okay, I think everything is transferred over. So of course, before I plug every single thing back in and put the bumper on, we're going to try and plug the headlight in and just see if it's worked. Okay, that can go there for now. I'm going to plug it in, and let's get a fingers crossed emoji again in the comments below, because I hope that this is going to work. Yeah. Let me see. Is it on? Oh. Well, the right hand side one is on. It actually just works. Wait, hold on. That works. What else? Does that work? Yes! Yes! Well, there we go. Nothing got damaged, nothing got ruined, and the headlight is replaced and all working. That's everything I can test. I think that's all of the lights. Main beam, high beam. Yeah, I'm going to call that an absolute success. And shout out to Alistair, the guy that actually sold it me for 130 quid. Right, I guess all we've got to do now is put it all back together. And how I like to do everything is just do it in reverse order. That way it's harder for me to forget where each bolt came from. So I'm going to start with the headlight, of course, get all the bolts back in the right position, in which luckily they all went in, and I got a bit of that Loctite off the actual bolts so I didn't manage to snap anything. And that headlight is in and working. Now I can reinstall the wheel arch liner and obviously secure it with them 8mm bolts that I took off earlier. I like to keep all the bolts for each individual part of the car in separate boxes. That way I can label the boxes and remember where each bolt was. Now I can get the bumper back on the car, and to do this on my own I'm going to secure it with them two T30 bolts that I took off the top of the slam panel earlier. That way the bumper can't fall back off the car and damage it. So I'm going to get the two bolts in that hold the bumper to the wing, and then I can reattach the 8mm bolts holding the arch liner to the bumper itself. Now I can do the same thing for the passenger side. Now I can go underneath the car and secure the bumper to the under tray with the 6 8mm bolts that are holding it in place. Now I can refit them 6 T30 bolts holding in the top of the bumper. And lastly, refit that weather strip. And there we go. That new headlight is now installed, and it really does make the front end look way better without a massive, horrible, gaping crack in the light. The wheels back on, everything is pretty much ready to go on this BMW. After all of the doubt, after all of the speculation, and all of the comments on this car, we've got one job left to do. Everything on the board is ticked off except one more job, which is the oil filter housing leak. After looking a little bit further into this leak, luckily for me, it isn't actually the oil filter housing that is leaking. In fact, it is just the oil cooler gasket that is going to need replacing. So it's not as big of a job as I thought. If it was the oil filter housing, we'd have had to take off the inlet manifold and move it out of the way to get to one of the bolts down here. But luckily for me, it's just the oil cooler housing. So I'm going to quickly replace the gasket on this, and that should be the final job on the BMW M135i. I have of course got to put all of the scuttle panel and the strut brace back in, and then that will be the end. So yeah, let's take care of this final job. First, I'm going to remove the intake. This is going to allow me access to that oil cooler. Now I'm going to undo the one main bolt holding the oil cooler lines to the cooler itself. I can now undo the 3 E-Torx bolts holding the cooler to the oil filter housing. Well, that again is no longer rubber and has turned to a hard plastic, so no wonder it was leaking. I like it when I take gaskets off and they're really brittle like that, because it just shows that that is definitely been the problem. So we can install the new one. And once again, shout out to Motor Parts Direct for always coming through with all of the car parts that I need. This is a OEM Febby gasket, and all we've got to do is put that in the same place that we took the old one out. And once that's done, I can refit the 3 E-Torx bolts holding the cooler to the oil filter housing, and of course refit them 2 main oil lines going to the cooler and attach it down with that T30 bolt. And that is the job complete. So now I can refit the intake pipe and go ahead and start refitting all of that scuttle panel that we took off in the first video. I'm going to refit the 2 strut towers, one on the left and one on the right, and then refit that plastic shroud that holds in the weather strip with 10mm bolts. Now I can refit the left hand side scuttle panel and of course the right hand side scuttle panel.
Here we go, the final piece of the puzzle can go back on for the final time. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the BMW M135i fully complete. There is not a single issue with this car. It drives amazing, it's fast, the wheels have recently been refurbed and the engine is in its tip-top condition. And what a car and what a result this one has actually been. This is by far definitely my favourite car so far in this series. This just tops them all. It drives so good, and I do honestly understand the BMW hype. The interior is such a nice place to be. The steering wheel is really nice. I don't know what it is with this car, but there's something just really satisfying about being behind the wheel. And the craziest thing is this isn't even a proper M car. It's a baby M car, an M car light, if you will. And I really do understand the hype. And of course, the last thing to do with this car is get it up for swaps, but I am going to be giving it an oil and filter change just to make sure that it is in the best condition it can possibly be for the next owner. But that is something that I'll be doing in the next video when we actually put this car up for swaps. So for now, this car, when you're watching this video, is available for swap. So if you have anything that you think is worth probably a few £1,000s more than this M135i, but is going to cost a few £1,000s to repair or get back on the road, then definitely let me know. I'm looking for the next car. And guys, if you did enjoy this one, thanks so much for watching. Please like, comment and subscribe. I will see you in the next one. Peace.
You wear a hat they call dad. Me, I'm the dad in a hat. You just like clubbing and clothes. Me, I like afternoon naps. 3, I be missed for the road. My oldest like counting racks. My middle one, she's in a dirt bike. My youngest is just like a mama. The mama loves me and I love her, so if she wants something, it's never a bother. 3 little ladies, my babies in one.